All right, so the first example we're going to look at is a half circle with a rectangle. All right, so I break this up into two separate shapes. So I have the half circle at the top, and then I have the rectangle at the bottom. All right, so the area of the rectangle, we just do base times height, so 8 times 10, which is going to give us 80. All right, my next step is to find the area of the half circle. So we know that the formula for area of a circle is pi times radius squared. And since that's just half a circle, I'm going to divide it by 2. So I'm going to say 3.14. Now the radius is going to be half of the diameter. So the diameter is the top part of the rectangle. So if the bottom part of the rectangle is 8, that means the top part of the rectangle is also 8. So if my diameter is 8, that means that my radius is 4. And then I'm going to divide by 2 because it's half a circle. When you punch that in the calculator, you should get 25.12. So to get my total area now, I'm going to add the two shapes together. So we have 25.12 plus 80, and that gives me 105.12 for my final answer. All right, the next shape we have is when we have rectangles together. So this one kind of looks like a T. I'm going to put some dimensions here. So the easiest way for me to split this one up is to split it into two separate rectangles. So I have the rectangle at the top, and then I have this rectangle at the bottom. So the rectangle at the top has a height of 3 and a length of 8. So I'm just going to say 3 times 8, which gives us 24. Now this bottom one, it says that we have a height of 7, but we need to figure out what the width is here. Now I know that this top part is going to be 8. This whole thing here is 8. And it also says that I have 2 here and I have 2 here. So if I take these 2's away from the 8, then I'm left with 4 for the bottom. So to get this bottom rectangle, I say 7 times 4, which gives us 28. And then I add the 2 together to get my total area, which would give us 52 as your final answer. All right, the next one you're going to see is when you have a square with a circle inside of it. And I want to find the shaded area here. All right, so to get the area of the square, that part's fairly simple. We know that a square means all the sides are the same. So if the bottom is 8, that means that the side is also 8 inches. So I just do 8 times 8, which is going to give us 64. All right, now I need to get the area of the circle, and this one's a little more tricky. So I know that the formula for area of a circle is pi times radius squared. So that means that I need to be able to get the radius from the square. So I know that the diameter is going to be the full length of the square. So if the bottom is 8, that means that this is also going to be 8 inches. And if that's the diameter, that means that we want half that for the radius. So I'm going to say 3.14 times 4 squared. And that's going to give us 50.24. Now, since I only want the shaded part, which means I just want these corners here, that means that I'm going to have to subtract the unshaded part. So I'm going to say 64, and I'm going to subtract from that 50.24. And that's going to give us a final answer of 13.76. So anytime it says you want the shaded area and part of it's unshaded, it means that you're going to be subtracting. All right, and the last one is kind of a diamond looking shape. All right, there's a couple of different ways you can split this up, but the easiest way is just to split it into simple shapes that you know. Now, if I just split this in half, I now have a triangle on the bottom and I have a trapezoid on the top. Now, those are two shapes that you already know the formulas of, you already know how to find the area of. Try not to split it into more than two shapes, because when you do that, it starts getting more complicated. So look for the easiest way that you can split it up. All right, so to get the area of a trapezoid, my formula is base 1 plus base 2 divided by 2 times the height. So my base 1, this top part, is 10. Plus base 2, which is this bottom part, and it tells us that the total length here is 15. So base 2 would be 15. We divide that by 2, and then we need to get the height of the trapezoid. So the height is going to be from this top to the bottom. Now it tells us that the total height here is 12 of the entire shape, and then it tells us that this partial height here is 6, which means 12 minus 6 gives me 6. So I have 6 left for the trapezoid. All right, so I'm going to do 10 plus 15 divided by 2, and then I multiply that by 6, and you should get the trapezoid has a total area of 75. All right, next I'm going to find the area of this bottom triangle. So we have base times height divided by 2. So the base of the triangle is going to be here, and that would be 15, because it also shares that base with the trapezoid. The height of the triangle is here. So from the bottom of the triangle to here is 6. So the height is 6 divided by 2. So 15 times 6 divided by 2 is going to give us 45. Now this one I want the total area, so I'm going to add them up. So I say 45 plus 75, and it gives us a total area of 120. All right, this next one is for web quest number 25, which is on surface area. So if you just watched for 24, then you can go ahead and exit out of the video for this part. All right, so for surface area, we're finding the area of all the faces, and then we're adding it up. So on a triangular prism, we're going to have a total of 5 faces. And we have 2 triangles, and then we have 3 rectangles. So the 2 triangles are going to be the exact same. So the base and height are always where the right angle would meet, and that would tell you which dimensions to use, because you also have this 14, which sometimes throws people off. So the base is 10, the height is 8, switch that around. So we're going to say 10 times 8 divided by 2, and that's going to give us 40. Well, the second triangle is going to be exactly the same. They mirror each other. We also have 3 rectangles. So I have this rectangle on the bottom, and that is 10 by 12. So 10 times 12 is going to give us 120. I have this rectangle that's kind of on the right side, and that's 14 by 12. That's going to give us 168. And then I have this rectangle that's on the left-hand side, and that one is 8 by 12, which is going to give us 96. So now to get my total surface area, I'm going to add 40, 40, 120, 168, and 96. And when I add all that together, I'm going to get 464 for the final surface area. All right, for our next example, we have a square pyramid. That looks something like that. And let's say it's 8 by 8, and the height is 10. All right, the net for this shape, which is the 2D shape before you fold it up, would look like this. So our square would be 8 by 8, and then the height of the triangle would be 10. So I also have a total of 5 faces here. I have the square on the bottom, and then I have the 4 triangles. Now, because it's a square, and a square means all the sides are the same, it also tells us that all of these triangles are going to be the same. So I'm going to first find the area of the square, which is 8 by 8, and that's going to give us a base of 64. Now, to get the triangle, the base of the triangle is 8, and the height of the triangle is 10. So I'm going to say 8 times 10 divided by 2, which is going to give us 40. All 4 of these triangles are going to be exactly the same if it's a square pyramid. So I'm going to add 4 40s, which would be 160, plus 64, and that would give us a total of 224 for the surface area. Lastly is a rectangular pyramid. So we know in a rectangle that 2 of your sides are the same. So the right and the left are the same, and then the front and the back are the same. So first here, I'm going to find the area of the base. And the base is this rectangle that is 10 by 12. So to get the rectangle, I'm going to say 10 times 12, which is 120. All right, now I need to find the area of the triangles. So I have this triangle here that's kind of on the right side, and I'm outlining it here. And that is 8, has a height of 8 and a base of 12. And I'm going to divide that by 2 because it's a triangle. And that's going to give us a total of 48. Well, if this right triangle is 48, it means that the left triangle is also going to be 48 because 2 of the sides of a rectangle are the same. All right, and then I have this rectangle that's in the front, and it has a base of 10 and a height of 15. So for this one, I'm going to say 10 times 15 divided by 2. And that's going to give us 75. Well, if the front one is 75, then the back one is also 75. And then I'm going to add up these 5 dimensions, and that's going to give us a total surface area of 318.